Do you want to impress your friends this summer with a fun dessert? Then strawberry jelly cake has to be that dessert. Light, delicious and layered with strawberry puree and melted chocolate jelly. This easy to make jelly cake is sure to make even beginners look like pros. Cooking Company will guide you to create a perfect strawberry jelly cake. Sugar 100 grams, 8 grams of agar powder, stir those together in a pot and add 550 millilitres of milk. We're going to stir that and heat it. We're going to turn up the heat a little bit and we want that to start bubbling away. Then we're going to turn the heat off and take it off the stove. Now 150 millilitres of that mixture is going into one bowl and 150 into another bowl. Next, strawberry puree, 150 millilitres into one bowl and 50 into the other. Stir those up nicely. You should have a dark pink and a pale pink mixture. We're going to pour these mixtures into our ice tray moulds. You know, you can use red food colouring if you prefer, rather than strawberry puree, but we like to use natural ingredients wherever possible. So once we've filled our moulds with the pale pink and the dark pink colour, we're going to put the lid on and squeeze so we get any excess liquid on the outside. This will help us to form our perfectly round jello shapes. Now we're going to stick this in the freezer for 1 hour. And when the shapes are set, we're going to pour them into a bowl. Now we'll pour some more milk agar mixture over that, leaving it white this time, and freeze it for 1 hour. Now get 200 millilitres of milk agar and 100 grams of melted dark chocolate. Mix them together. And this is our final layer of our jelly cake. We're going to pour this on top of the already set agar mixture, making a nice medium to thin layer. And we're going to freeze the whole thing for a further 2 hours. And when it's ready, you just turn your bowl upside down and voila! Why not decorate it with some berries? We're using raspberries and blueberries. We like the colours, but you can use any fruit you like. Why not add a few sprigs of mint? Add a lovely green colour to your mixture. Look at that, a professional looking cake and so easy to make. All you need is a few simple ingredients and a freezer. Today we are going to make a traditional Italian dessert with a twist, the watermelon panna cotta. Panna cotta is a traditional Italian dessert that is made with heavy cream, sugar and vanilla. Get ready to bring Italy home as Cooking Company takes you one step at a time to create the delicious watermelon panna cotta. All you need is 10 grams of agar powder, 20 grams of sugar, put it in a pot on a stove, give it a little bit of a stir, and then we add our 200 millilitres of milk and 200 millilitres of whipping cream. We're going to give that another stir as it heats up on the stove. Let it become perfectly combined before removing it from the heat. Now this is going to be our panna cotta mixture. This is the white part of our gelatine dessert. We're going to then get a glass which we will tilt on its side and add our panna cotta mixture. The great thing about this recipe is it's so easy. It only requires 4 ingredients: your gelatine powder, agar is actually vegan gelatin powder, and your heavy cream, your milk, and your watermelon. And voila, there you have it. Now, we're going to put that in the fridge to chill for 1 hour so it sets nice. Meanwhile, we'll get a watermelon, cut it in half. Be very careful with this part. You'll need a nice big sharp knife to do that. You can actually choose any fruits you like. You could use blueberries with a blue coloured jello or even raspberries. Now we're going to get a scoop. We can use an ice cream scoop to scoop out little pieces of the watermelon. We're going to keep doing this so we get quite a few scoops of watermelon out, let's say 5 or 6 for each glass of panna cotta dessert. Put those aside. Meanwhile, 10 grams of agar powder, 20 grams of sugar, again in the cooking pot. Give it a stir, making sure it's evenly distributed. Next, we're going to add 400 millilitres of water. That's all we need, folks. So we'll stir that, make sure all the agar powder and sugar has dissolved in the water. While it's heating, we want it to bubble away nicely. When it's been bubbling for a while, we're going to turn off the heat and remove the mixture from the stove. Now that is going to cool down, and while it's cooling, we'll add our watermelon chunks on top of our panna cotta mixture, which is now nicely set. And then we add our agar water, our vegan gelatin water mixture on top, all the way to the top of the glass. It looks great in a short glass like this. We're going to stick that in the fridge to chill for a further 1 hour. And when it's set and ready, we take it out and add our decorations. We're using a few sugar decorations. And why not add a few sprigs of green mint? It looks fantastic against the red and the white. Even the flowers are matching. I would not mind a scoop of that. Oof, how refreshing. Did you ever think you could put together a sinful dessert in just 3 simple steps? Let's bake the no-bake strawberry and cream jelly cake. Layered in cream jelly and infused with luscious strawberries. This cake takes you on a milky, wholesome and enticing journey with every bite. It's a simple no-bake cake with simple ingredients such as milk, evaporated milk and even condensed milk. Let's hear it for the milks. Excellent. We give it a nice stir and then we add the final touch, a spot of gelatin. Now notice that we're heating this while we're stirring it. Now that makes your gelatin milk mixture, part of which you're going to pour into a nice big mould. Now we want to put this in the fridge for at least 20 minutes to let it set. Meanwhile, let's make the jelly. So strawberry flavoured jello, we like strawberry, we like the colour red. We're going to add some water, 400 ml of water to be precise, some gelatin, give it a whisk. Then we're going to pour half of that into a smaller round-shaped mould and set it in the fridge for 10 minutes. When we bring it out, it's nicely set and we can add some fresh strawberries for that wonderful freshness. And then pour the rest of the gelatin mixture over the top. Now that will be in the fridge for 30 minutes. When everything is set, we take it out and we place the jelly on top of the set gelatin milk mixture. Then the remainder of the gelatin milk mixture gets poured around and over the top of the jelly, hiding it in the middle. Give it a bit of a shake and stick it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. You can make this recipe with any fruit you like. You can use mangoes, cherries, oranges, any type of berry you like. Now, when we take it out of the fridge, we turn it upside down so you get the lovely nice white flour on the top. You can only see white, so let's decorate it with some fresh strawberries and a nice slice of green mint. Did you know that Hannah Glass published this recipe in her 18th century book? Yes, it's an old recipe, folks. Tried and tested. Perfect for summertime parties. Delicious. Mirror chocolate cake with strawberry jelly and white chocolate mousse is a cake with different layers and a delicacy for chocolate lovers. Filled with white chocolate mousse, strawberry jelly and a layer of chocolate cake on the inside, this cake is best for birthdays and special occasions. Cooking Company will take you one step at a time into creating this mouth-watering cake. First, we add our strawberries, 300 grams, 20 grams of sugar, 50 millilitres of water to a pan, and we'll let that bubble away. You can use frozen strawberries or fresh strawberries, whatever takes your fancy. We'll pour that mixture into a bowl once it's nicely softened. We're going to blend it together so it is smooth. Then we can add our gelatin, 12 grams of that. Give it a stir till it's very well mixed together. Then we pour it into our container and freeze it for around 30 minutes. Meanwhile, we'll make our chocolate cake. That's cake mixture, 3 eggs, oil, some milk, and we're going to whisk it all together. You can use ready-made cake mixture from the shop or make your own with a bit of self-raising flour, baking soda and cocoa powder. Now we're going to lightly spray our cake tin with oil and add wax paper on the bottom to stop it from sticking. Then we add our chocolate cake mixture. Now this is going to bake in the oven at 180 degrees for around 30 minutes. While that is cooking away, we make our white chocolate mousse. That's 4 egg yolks and 120 grams of sugar. Blend it up. Next we're going to add some corn flour. This is what's going to thicken it later on when we bubble away on the stove. And we can add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract to give it a lovely flavour. And then we add 500 millilitres of milk to a pan. we heat that a little bit and add that to the rest of the mixture. Once that's all mixed together, we are 2/3 of the way towards white chocolate mousse. Nice and smooth. We're going to add the whole mixture back to our cooking pot. Now here comes the time-consuming part. We have to whisk away for quite a while until the texture thickens up and becomes a mousse-like texture. Nice and thick and gloopy. At that point, we can take it off the pan. We're going to add melted white chocolate, 150 grams. If you want to be interesting, you could even add some food colouring. Why not? 12 grams of gelatin to that as well. And whisk it up till it's very, very well mixed and smooth. Now we're going to add 500 millilitres of whipping cream and whisk it till it's very thick and gloopy. And we'll add the rest of our mixture to the whipping cream. Once that has been stirred, so you see there's a lot of stirring involved in this part of the process, but look, we have this absolutely delicious white chocolate mousse. We can stick it in a food bag or a piping bag, a food bag where you can just cut the end off to make a nozzle. You can squirt it into your baking tin so that it's ready to put your frozen strawberry jelly on top. Now we're going to use a piping bag to squirt around the edges of the jelly and over the top. Take your time with this and be very generous with your helping of white chocolate mousse. We love a bit of white chocolate mousse. We're going to just smooth over the top with a spatula because we want to now add our chocolate cake. Just final touches and voila, there we go. We freeze that for 30 minutes. Meanwhile, we're going to make our topping. Sugar, cocoa powder, sweetened condensed milk. Now we add 100 millilitres of water to the cooking pot and stir it as it's heating, making sure it's nice and smooth. Now we might have a few lumpy bits of cocoa powder in the bottom, so we're going to pour it through a sieve onto a bowl of chocolate buttons. We've used dark chocolate. It gives it a lovely dark brown colour. We're going to blend this up till it's absolutely smooth. Look at that lovely shiny mixture. This is our chocolate glaze. That glaze then gets poured over the rest of our cake. We recommend that you put your cake on a stand high up over a baking tray. That's because obviously as we pour the chocolate glaze, it's going to drip. So we're going to just smooth out the bottom and get rid of all those dripping pieces. Next, we're going to get some broken up chocolate and we're going to just splodge it on there around the edges, alongside the bottom. Very nice finishing touch, and of course it hides any dripping chocolate glaze. Now we can add a special touch with a few strawberries on top, halved with the leaves still on. We like a bit of green and red colour on our dark chocolate cake. Delicious, look at that. Chocolate glazing makes this cake look amazing. There is nothing as refreshing as a juicy watermelon, and today we're going to be turning this popular fruity flavour into a wiggly jiggly watermelon jello cake that will perfectly satisfy your taste buds. Don't you worry, it's super easy and Cooking Company will guide you in putting this deliciousness together. So let's get started. To make this, we add 350 millilitres of water to a pot on the stove and 200 grams of jello. Jello is the term they use in America to describe gelatin. We give that a stir, let it all dissolve and heat up nicely. Next, we get a small glass bowl, which we lightly coat in oil. Now that will make sense later on, and you'll see why we've done that. Then we get a bigger glass bowl filled with iced water, place a smaller bowl inside that one, and pour in our hot jello mixture. Now the aim here is to try and part cool the jello mixture so that it half sets but not completely. We're going to also add 100 millilitres of room temperature water just to help the cooling process along, and stir it, keep stirring it until it cools down and starts to thicken. Now comes the fun part. We're going to add in some chocolate chips. You see, this is starting to look a bit like a watermelon, isn't it? This is going to be the seeds of the watermelon. So we stir those in, evenly spread throughout the mixture. Then we're going to pour that mixture into another glass bowl, which will then be put in the fridge to set the jelly. We're going to cover this with some food film preservation, otherwise known as cling film. We're going to just cover the jelly itself, and we're going to stick that in the fridge to chill for 1 hour. Meanwhile, we'll get 200 millilitres of milk, 5 grams of gelatin, 60 grams of sweetened condensed milk, and put that together in a jug. Give it a mix. Did you know that the French were the first to use gelatin in cooking? Now we're going to add our jello, 100 grams, water, 80 millilitres. Give it a good stir and add a drop of food colouring. We're going to use green food colouring because this is going to make our green layer for our watermelon. Now, while you're compiling this, you can actually use a real watermelon for reference to make sure you get all the layers in the right place. Right, we're going to add 100 millilitres of a yoghurt drink. You can buy this ready-made from the shop or simply mix some milk or water together with yoghurt. Stir that all in so it becomes a kind of cloudy green liquid. Our red jello is ready! Fantastic. We pour the yoghurt gelatin mixture on top of the jelly. And when we've done that, we're going to stick our bowl back in the refrigerator so the white layer can set. When it's set, we're going to add our third and final layer. That's our green-coloured yoghurt gelatin layer. This one is the thinnest of the 3 layers. Look at that colour against the white yoghurt mixture. Fantastic. Then we'll chill that again for 1 hour. We'll then fill a large glass bowl with warm water and take our gelatin mixture out of the fridge and stick it in the warm water for a few minutes, just swishing it around. What we want to do is loosen the sides of our gelatin cake. That way it will be much easier when we want to get it out of the bowl. So here comes the final part. We're going to stick it on a plate upside down, give it a shake, and there you go. It slides off nicely due to that little layer of oil that we put on earlier. Fancy a squirt of cream on top and even a little decoration? Why not? Look at that. So refreshing for those summer garden parties. Wouldn't mind a slice, would you?